you are joining over 12,000 other third graders across the state for our Constitution Day event. So welcome to Constitution Day.
The thing is, the Sixth Amendment to the Constitution guarantees us all the right to a trial by a jury of our peers. And you're going to see all three branches working together today in our mock trial. So I've got to get ready. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and put my robe on. I have to tell you, I feel a little bit like Mr. Rogers here, taking off my suit coat, putting on my robe, getting ready for trial. And I just realized that none of you are going to get that reference to Mr. Rogers. But that's okay. You can ask your parents about it. The point is this. The next time you see me, I'm going to have my really serious judge face on. And that's okay. And I hope that you'll put your serious juror face on, because this is pretty important stuff. Well, we're about ready to begin our mock trial so that you can see the Constitution in real time.
All right. Oyez. The Honorable District Court of Kansas is now in session. All persons watching are admonished to pay attention and to draw near and be heard.
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated, and thank you, Sheriff Easter. Call the case, State of Kansas v. Williams, OSD 1234. Attorneys, would you please state your appearances for the record, beginning with the defendant. Please rise and enter your appearance and be recognized for our jury defense counsel.
May it please the court, the defendant, Joseph Williams, appears in person and by and through counsel, Catherine Triplett.
Thank you, Ms. Triplett. And for the state, would you please state your appearance?
Please report the state of Kansas appears by and through District Attorney Mark Dupree.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, thank you for your public service. The state of Kansas has alleged that Joseph Williams violated Kansas Mock Statute 24-0001. This law states that it is illegal to run in the hallways of any elementary school in the state of Kansas between the hours of 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. The law also states that it shall be a defense to this charge if the accused is attempting to help someone in an emergency situation. You will hear the evidence, and you will determine whether or not Joseph Williams is guilty. The prosecution alleges that this took place on August 21st, 2024. The defendant pleads not guilty. Mr. Dupree, on behalf of the state, you may make your opening argument.
The boy thinks he's not guilty. This happened, what, 2 weeks ago?
Please the court. Defense counsel. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. It is extremely important today that you follow the facts. Look at the evidence. On August 24th, 2024, Mr. Williams, he looks really nice, but on that day, he was running. And he was running in the hallway. And you heard the law. The law said, between the hours of 7 and 4, you must not run. The evidence is going to show that you have a teacher, you have a principal. They all heard and saw Mr. Williams running. The defense is going to present evidence. Oh, were we sure? Was it him? At the end of this hearing, I'm going to ask you to do your duty and to find Mr. Williams guilty of running in the hallway.
Oh, he wants us to find him guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Ms. Triplett, at this time, you may make the defendant's opening statement.
Thank you, Judge, counsel. Ladies and gentlemen, follow the evidence. Do exactly what the state asked you to do. But what the evidence will show is that someone was running in the hallway. But no one, not one witness, can identify that person as my client, Mr. Williams. Not one. Mr. Williams is a good kid. He was finishing up his homework that day and it ended at around 4 p.m. After the statute says it was illegal to run in the hallways. If someone saw him running, it was after 4 p.m. So at the end of trial today, I'm going to ask you to return the only verdict that the evidence supports, and that is not guilty.
Thank you, Ms. Triplett. We're now ready to begin the state's case in chief. Mr. Dupree, you may call your first witness.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Dr. Watson, Dr. Randy Watson.
Mr. Dupree, it's my understanding Dr. Watson will be testifying remotely today. Ms. Isaacson, would you please swear in our witness?
We met her. She's taking all the notes, remember? The guy on the right, Dr. Watson.
I do.
All right, Mr. Dupree, you may proceed with your direct examination.
Thank you, Judge.
He's not an actual.
Please state your name for the record.
Randy Watson.
Are you currently employed?
Yeah, I teach third grade at the local elementary school.
And is Joseph Williams one of the students in your class?
Yes.
Were you teaching this class on the afternoon of August 21st, 2024?
Yes, I remember that day specifically.
Could you tell us why?
Sure. There was a lot of excitement. Everyone was getting ready for the back to school movie event we were having after school that day.
So I want to ask you a direct question. Was Joseph Williams one of those excited kids?
Objection calls for speculation as to what my client was feeling.
Sustained. Next question, Mr. Dupree.
She was saying.
Thank
he
you,
was
Judge.
acting-
Do you remember anything specifically about Joseph Williams' actions that day?
Yes. He's a good student, but on that day, he hadn't finished his daily assignments. So when the bell rang, I told him he had to stay in class and finish his assignments before he could go join everyone else at the movie night event.
What time does school end?
3:20.
And what time did the movie event start?
3:45.
You will now see Exhibit A on the screen. Is this a true and accurate copy of the movie flyer?
Yes.
Judge, I move to admit Exhibit A.
No objection.
Exhibit A has been moved. There's no objection from the defense. Exhibit A is admitted into our record. Mr. Dupree, you may continue.
Thank you, Judge. So Mr. Williams would have left your classroom in a hurry, correct?
Yes. As I said, everyone was very excited about the event that night.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Ms. Triplett, the defense may begin their cross-examination now.
Good morning.
We should probably know
Good
that.
morning.
I don't know why, but we should.
You said my client was a good student, is that correct?
Yes.
And did he actually finish his assignment?
Yes.
And this could have taken more than 15 minutes, is that correct?
Probably. I don't remember for sure.
Do you know whether or not my client was on time for the movie to start?
I'm not sure, but I doubt it.
Do you happen to remember what my client was wearing that day?
I'm not sure. Maybe a soccer or baseball jersey. I really don't remember.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Ms. Triplett. At this time, we will now pause the trial for each jury in classroom to take 2 minutes to discuss the testimony they've just heard. You may begin now.
Okay, what do we think? Maybe wearing a jersey, he's not sure. If the movie starts at 3:45, he would have had to be running. I think
It was 3:45.
Yeah, I think
the movie
you're right.
starts at 3:45.
he would have had to be running during those school hours, right?
Oh, I see now.
Because the school hours were until 4, no running till 4. But no one actually saw this kid running. So maybe the jersey will have something to do with it. What do we think? What do we got so far as a jury? Do we think he was or wasn't?
He's not guilty. He is not guilty.
Guilty, not guilty. Show me with your thumbs. Guilty, not guilty so far. Guilty, not guilty.
Because he said it could have taken more than 15 minutes.
Okay.
And he was wearing a baseball jersey. Or soccer.
That might have something. That's why we noted it.
Wait.
And I just feel like the movie start time is going to have something to do with it too, maybe. See, as a jury, we have to look at the evidence that was presented, that
He
flyer.
could ran because it was after 3.
Oh, so maybe he was running because he was late doing his homework. He's like, the movie started 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, after 3:20. And that was after school ended. So
Okay.
not guilty. Because he did.
Okay, let's say he was running. Is a movie something to be worthy of running for?
No.
Was that in that the rules that was helping somebody in an emergency that was being late to a movie? One of the like, yes, you may run things.
An emergency? It was after school.
But is a movie an emergency?
Yes. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Zootopia is an emergency?
No.
No.
Zootopia.
I don't know.
Yes.
I feel like it is.
Anyway,
It's not over yet. This is what a jury does.
Guilty.
This is called deliberating. Or thinking.
I thought he's not
We have 4 seconds. All right, let's go back and hear some more facts.
All right, to the members of our jury, the 2 minutes have expired. We are now going to continue with the presentation of evidence. At this time, the state may call their next witness.
Thank you, Judge. The state calls Dr. Mark Peck.
Dr. Heck, if you could please come up and be sworn in before you give your testimony.
This is important. You have to be very honest in the courtroom. She's asking him to swear that he will be telling the truth at all times in the court of law.
Mr. Dupree, once Dr. Heck is in witness stand and ready for testimony, you may begin your direct examination.
Thank you, Judge. Dr. Heck, are you comfortable and are you ready?
Yes.
Could you please state your name for the record?
Dr. Mark Heck.
And Dr. Heck, were you formerly a principal at our local elementary school?
Yes, for 22 years.
And were you there when Joseph Williams was a student?
Yes, but he was younger. I'm not the principal there now.
Were you in the elementary school building on the day in question, which is August 21st, 2024?
I was. The current principal had asked me to come to a meeting, and it was after school, and I had some extra time, so I was down in the hallway talking to some teachers since it wasn't 4:15 yet.
Did you see anything unusual that day?
Well, I don't know if it's unusual, but I did see a student running when I was down there talking to teachers.
So you saw a student running. What was this student wearing?
I remember that easily. It was a San Francisco 49ers t-shirt.
Did he have the same hair color as the defendant sitting at this table to my right?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
What happened next?
I asked the school nurse who was down in the hallway what was going on, and she said,
Action, hearsay?
Counsel, it's my understanding that the school nurse is available for examination, is on the witness list. I'm going to allow this testimony. I'm going to overrule it. Dr. Heck, you can continue. Mr. Dupree, you may continue with your examination.
Thank you, Judge. Please, Dr. Heck, continue.
She said that it was a big back-to-school movie night, movie afternoon, and everyone was really excited, and the student we saw was running. He was late to the movie.
Dr. Heck, have you ever seen Joseph Williams running in the hallway before?
Well, yes, I have. He was younger because it's been several years since I was his principal.
But you have saw him running in the hallway, correct?
Correct.
No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Ms. Triplett, you may begin your cross-examination.
Good morning, Mr. Heck.
Good morning.
On this particular day in question, did you specifically see my client running in the hallway?
I did not see the student's face, so I do not know for sure.
Okay. Didn't see his face.
So you don't know if it was my client, Mr. Williams, that you saw running in the hallway, do you?
I know it was a 49ers fan, but you are correct. I cannot say for sure that it was Joseph Williams.
Thank you. No further questions.
She did a good
Mr.
job.
Dupree, does the state have any additional witnesses?
Did you do it?
They both did a good job.
No,
yeah.
Judge, the state rested the case.
All right, members of our jury, the state has now rested their case. We're going to take 2 minutes for you to discuss the testimony that you've just heard while the defense gets ready to begin their case in chief. You may take the 2 minutes starting now.
Not guilty. Not guilty. Not guilty.
So the red side, he went. He pulled up his best person on the stand, and he's like, okay, we got this in the bag. 49ers jersey, saw a kid running, same color hair, was boy, same age. He knew the kid in the past. He's seen this kid as a runner before when he was little. Has to be him, guilty.
Guilty.
But
Not guilty.
that was his witness that he brought in, right? So when you bring somebody in, the other side definitely gets to ask him questions. So she comes up
Not
and says, but
guilty.
did you see my client, this child right here, did you see his face exactly?
But he didn't
He
say. Didn't see
He
his
didn't
face.
see his face.
And maybe it looked
He might have
familiar.
seen from like just a boy.
Yeah, maybe
Jersey.
familiar to him.
Familiar.
Yeah.
So,
But they still have the same
can we just all of a sudden say you're guilty and you have to pay the price?
No.
We don't know for sure.
Not guilty.
But what if it was? Can we just say not guilty and hope he never does it again? I know it's just running in the halls, but what if it was something big? So, what do we do? It's our job. Like, we have to figure out what to do. We can't just say he's guilty. We can't just say he's not guilty. We have to have a reason. We have to pick one.
that he's not. Because kids
Wait 1
really
second.
like movies, and kids don't want to miss it.
So, you think he was like, I'm missing Zootopia, and I mean, that's the best part of the music at the beginning. I get there, I run. So, we think maybe we're going to base it off of that. Okay, what do you think, Jackson?
I'm gonna make it. We don't know what number he was wearing
Okay.
when he was running.
Okay. So now, our not guilty, she gets to have her person come up on stand. Who thinks we should ask the kid?
Ask
Or
the
like-
kid.
What about the kid's parents? Like,
Ask the kid.
I mean, if I put Addie's parents in there, they're going to say she's not a 49ers fan.
All right, we are now ready
Get more
to
info.
begin with the defendant's case in chief. Ms. Triplett, the defense may call your first witness at this time.
The defense called Maria Ortiz Smith.
Counsel has advised the court that Ms. Ortiz Smith has requested a Spanish interpreter for testimony today. Ms. Miller, are you connected?
Spanish interpreter, miss.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Miller, do you solemnly swear or affirm that you will make a true interpretation in an understandable manner to the persons for whom you have been appointed, and that you will repeat the statements of such person in the English language to the best of your skill and judgment?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
So the witness
Ms.
speaks
Isaacson,
Spanish.
could you please
But the
swear
jury
in
doesn't
our
understand
witness?
Spanish, right? We don't.
Raise your
So,
right hand.
Por favor, levante su mano derecha.
Do you swear or affirm
Jura o afirma
the testimony you're about to give
que el testimonio que dará el día de hoy
will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
será la verdad, toda la verdad y nada más que la verdad? Sí. Yes. Gracias.
her job on the bottom is to say exactly what both people say.
May I proceed?
You may.
¿Puedo proceder? Sí.
Please state your name for the record.
Por favor, diga su nombre para el acta.
María Ortiz Smith.
María Ortiz Smith.
And are you a parent volunteer at the elementary school?
¿Y es usted una voluntaria en la escuela primaria?
Estoy en la Asociación de Padres y Maestros y ayudo cuando puedo.
I am on the PTA and I try to help out when I can.
Were you at the back-to-school movie event on August 21st of 2024?
¿Estaba usted en el evento de cine de regreso a clases el 21 de agosto del 2024?
Sí,
Yes.
At the movie.
And were you in the library with Mr. Joseph Williams?
¿Y estaba usted en la biblioteca con el señor Joseph Williams?
sí.
Oh.
Recuerdo que llegó un poco después de que se empezó la película.
Yes, but I remember I came in shortly after the movie had started.
Oh, came in after the movie started, okay?
And how do you remember that?
¿Y cómo se acuerda de eso?
No estoy segura de cómo se llama la película, pero al principio uno de los personajes gritó alto ahí y fue un grito muy alto. Entonces fue cuando entró el estudiante Joseph Smith a la biblioteca y cerró la puerta.
I don't remember the name of the movie, but I remember at the beginning, one of the characters yelled, "Hey, stop there." I remember thinking that it was so loud, it sounded like someone really needed help.
And this was sometime after 3:45?
Y esto fue en algún momento después de las 3:45.
Sí.
Creo que sí, sí.
I think so, yes.
Maybe even after 4 p.m.?
Quizás hasta después de las 4 de la tarde.
No estoy segura, pero alrededor de las 4.
I'm not sure. It would have been around 4 o'clock.
No further questions.
No tengo más preguntas.
The other guy
State,
needs to go.
you may begin your cross-examination.
Fiscal puede comenzar con su contrainterrogación. Gracias, su señoría.
This was shortly after the movie began, correct?
Esto fue justo después que comenzó la película, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
Sí.
And the movie started at 3:45.
Y la película comenzó a las 3:45.
Se supone que la película empezaría a esa hora, pero tuvimos problemas con el proyector y comenzó unos minutos después.
It was supposed to, but we actually started it a few minutes late due to some projector issues.
And when Joseph Williams came into the library, what was he wearing?
Y cuando Joseph Williams entró a la biblioteca, ¿qué es lo que él vestía?
It's recess time.
We'll take it later.
No estoy segura, era como una playera deportiva.
I'm not sure. It was some type of sports jersey.
What did he ask her? What was she wearing?
Thank you. No further questions, please.
Gracias. No tengo más preguntas, su señoría.
Some kind of sports dress.
Ms. Ortiz-Smith, thank you for your testimony. Ms. Miller, thank you for interpreting today. You may be dismissed at this time.
Señora Ortiz Smith, gracias por su testimonio. Thank you, Your Honor.
I promise we'll take
We will
this.
now pause for the jury to consider for 2 minutes the testimony they've just heard as this case proceeds. Your time begins now.
I promise we
Still not
won't. We
guilty.
won't miss recess. Okay, so what do we think? That didn't give us very much. She doesn't
Still
know if she was late. She doesn't know if she was around 4. She doesn't know what jersey, just a
movie
jersey.
issue.
I mean, if we look around our room right now, I see 1, 2, 3. I see 3 jerseys just in our classroom. So it could be a lot of jerseys.
Yeah, and then also,
Wait,
there's a lot of people that have the same haircut.
Raise your hand. Yeah, a lot of people have the same hair color.
I'm running a baseball.
Okay, what'd you say, Greg?
So, O'Shea, Liam, and Elliot.
Yeah, so did we get much from that person?
No. Why me? Elliot could be.
Okay, let's see where we're at. Thumbs up, not guilty. Thumbs down, guilty. Thumbs up, not guilty.
Yeah, 1 more minute.
Thumbs down means we think he's guilty.
What do you think?
Not guilty, guilty.
Guilty. Wait, this is a
little.
Nah.
Okay.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
But what if his life is in your hands and you're just gonna put something down because you don't know what? We need more information. We have to tell the judge we're not ready to vote. We need more information.
Yeah, we need more
We need to
information.
ask his parents because even like the 49ers.
Not guilty.
So far, our
What if
best
it-
person was that principal that for sure saw a 49ers jersey. And remember, he was sworn in to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Maybe
So-
they should ask them.
We need to find out.
Because they would know what.
They would know if he even owned a 49ers jersey. Okay, so there's something we can do. As a jury, we could ask
What
them,
if it wasn't?
hey, we need another person to talk to.
What if it was just
Okay.
Or we could just ask the kid.
Why don't we just put the kid up there? Can we put the kid on trial and ask?
Yeah. Well,
See if we can just get the truth. Let's find out. We have 9 seconds. Maybe that'll happen. The kid also has to tell the truth.
Can we unmute?
All right, members of the jury, court is now back in session. Ms. Triplett, it's my understanding that you have one more witness who will be our final witness today. Is that correct? Ms. Triplett, at this time, you may call your final witness.
Defense calls Jesse Boyd.
It's my understanding that Ms. Boyd will be joining us today remotely. Ms. Isaacson, could you please swear Ms. Boyd in before her testimony begins?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, Ms. Triplett, whenever you're ready, you may begin your direct examination.
Good morning. Morning. Please state your name for the record.
Jessie Bloyd.
And what is your job?
I'm the school nurse at the elementary school.
Okay, school nurse. Here we go.
And did you see my client on August 21st of 2024?
Yes.
And what for?
Joey came in after morning recess. He'd hurt his knee pretty badly. I gave him some ice, told him to stay off his feet and rest and no running. And I could tell he was hurt.
School nurse.
So was he moving slowly?
Yes, very slowly.
Do you know my client very well?
Oh yes, he's such a great kid. He's always willing to help other students when they're in need.
Great kid.
All right, thank you. No further questions.
And he has a hurt
All right,
knee,
Mr.
but that's
Dupree,
not-
on behalf of the state, you may begin your cross-examination.
It says 1,000 on the block.
What if he was trying to help?
Did you see Joseph Williams
That's a good question.
in the office the rest of the day?
It's time.
No.
We never came back.
Did you call his parents?
No, I did not. I sent
But you
no.
didn't think the injury was severe enough to send him home, correct?
That's correct. It wasn't that serious.
It's kind of serious.
And third graders, they can heal pretty quickly, can't they?
Ice packs are
Yes, they can, especially if they're motivated.
Do you remember talking to Dr. Heck?
Yes.
He said you saw a student running in the halls. Was that student Joseph Williams?
He saw the student. When I turned around, all I caught was just seeing the door shutting, so I don't know who it was. I explained it to Dr. Heck what all the excitement was about the movie
It's
event.
100.
Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Thank you for your testimony, Ms. Bloyd. To the members of our jury, Ms. Triplett, that was your final witness. Do you now rest?
I didn't see the kid.
And Mr. Dupree, does the state have any rebuttal testimony or
6
evidence?
minutes late to recess.
No, Judge.
To the members of our jury,
I promise.
in just a moment, you're about to begin your very serious role laid out in the Constitution to deliberate and come to a verdict. But before we do that, the attorneys are going to make their closing arguments. After the closing arguments are made, we will then begin the deliberations. Mr. Dupree, on behalf of the state, you may now begin your closing argument.
Why didn't we talk to the kid?
Thank you, Judge. May it please the court. Thanks, counsel. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
He did plead not
you've heard the evidence. You've heard the facts. You've seen what everyone has to say. I told you at the beginning of this that I was going to ask you to find Mr. Williams guilty. And it is clear that the nurse really liked Joseph. He's a good kid. He does no wrong. However, you can go back and read the transcript. Even the nurse said he was running when he hurt himself. So much so to the point that he had to go and see the nurse to get help. Look, I'm not going to belabor the point here. I'm going to give you 3 E's. E, the first one stands for excitement. Everyone has stated that this young man, who I'm sure is a good student, was excited. He wanted to get to the movies. And in his excitement, he didn't finish his work, but he had to stay behind it. He got it done, but he was so excited he took off, then he ran. The second E is evidence. I want you to focus on the evidence, that the evidence shows that he ran and he tried to get to this room where he could watch the movie. The evidence shows that he was wearing a 49ers jersey. The evidence showed that even the volunteer parent, he didn't know the fork, but she knew it was a jersey. The evidence shows that it was indeed him. And the last E, as I take my seat, I want you to just say no to the excuses. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for running. There's no excuse that can be made for him doing what he did. He violated the law. It was before 4 o'clock, and anything that you heard today that refused that was not evidence. Ignore the excuses, follow the evidence, and be excited when you find him guilty. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dupree. Ms. Triplett, you may make your closing argument on behalf of the defendant now.
Thank you. Members of the jury, someone was running in the hallways, but that someone was not Mr. Williams. And how do you know that? Follow the evidence the state suggests. Not one of the witnesses identified Mr. Williams as being the person that they saw running in the hallways. Not one. The only person that could tell you what he was wearing that day said he was wearing a baseball or soccer jersey. Everyone here knows the 49ers are a football team.
Oh.
Not one witness identified Mr. Williams. In addition, he was finishing his homework, was done around 4 p.m. He showed up at the movie, and the movie started late. It started after 3:45, around 4 p.m., and he was hurt earlier, so he was moving slowly. Someone was running through the hallways, but that person was not Mr. Williams. I am asking you to come back with the only verdict that the evidence in this case supports, and that is not guilty. Thank you.
So it's not Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Ms. Triplett.
Can't be.
To members of our jury,
It's impossible.
the time has now come. When we began the day, I discussed with you the very important constitutional right under the 6th Amendment to a trial by jury. And that's what we've had today. And now, a jury of Mr. Williams' peers will come to a verdict. I have one instruction and one question for you as jurors. The question is this. Has the state of Kansas proven beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty or not guilty? You will have 5 minutes to deliberate this issue. A poll will appear on your screen where you can vote guilty or not guilty. Your deliberations begin now.
Okay. Yeah, 5 minutes to figure this out. His future is in our hands and our hands alone. Not the judge, ours.
He can't, because not guilty. He won't act like assault, though.
I do feel like the jersey is the turning point for me.
Not guilty.
Bryson, what do you think?
Behind you.
Yes, we're not ready to. Are you ready to vote? I'm not yet.
Yeah.
More information.
Okay,
what do you think, Dylan?
He is. They said he was wearing baseball or soccer.
Yes.
But he was wearing a 49ers. It is a big football team.
Okay, I'm on that same page.
Or he could have wore his own baseball jersey and was the 49ers.
Oh.
The baseball team is
We need more questions.
No, like his.
Is he not guilty? All right, let's take before we are one jury vote, but in our class we need to vote. So Jessa, what do you think? Guilty or not guilty? Okay, we got one for guilty.
Guilty.
Okay, go with your gut, not your neighbor's. Bryson?
Not guilty.
Not guilty, okay? Camden? Guilty, not guilty. Did he do it or did he not do it? Okay. Melissa?
Not guilty.
Okay. What do you think?
Well, I count how many evidence
Oh,
on each side, and there's more on not guilty, so I vote for not guilty.
oh, you counted our evidence up? Okay. Okay. What do you think?
Guilty.
Okay. What do you think?
Not guilty.
Okay. Oh my goodness. We're just gonna be neck and neck. What do you think?
Not guilty.
Okay.
It's not. It's gonna be
Not guilty.
All right.
Guilty.
Okay.
Not guilty.
guilty.
Not.
Oh, it's like the not guilty.
Okay. We'll go Maverick.
Not guilty.
Brooklyn.
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Okay.
Maverick, not guilty.
Cheryl?
Well, there's not enough evidence to support that he was guilty. There's no definitive, obvious evidence that he was guilty, so you have another choice but to say not guilty.
Because you're not guilty and you're
Until proven
until
you are.
proven
There's
guilty.
no actual proof that it was.
So somebody was running, but we
Somebody
can't
was
prove
running,
it was
yeah.
him. So you're going with not guilty?
I'd say not guilty because there's no proof saying it was definitely him.
I mean, you guys make such good points.
What about you, Miss Lover?
I don't know.
Pick not guilty.
Pick
But I mean, just because you guys are all really good kids, but I see how we get to lunch every day, and it is not walking. It is not walking. So, like, just because he's a really good kid, oh, yay, yay.
1 minute. Not guilty is gonna get 1 minute.
But somebody needs to,
No,
somebody was running. Okay, I'm going with not guilty.
Yeah.
So, we're going to put in not guilty as our
13 people pick not guilty.
as our vote. Are we good with that? That's really important. I know. This is the hard part about a jury. Okay, I submitted it.
Yeah.
To the members of our jury, you have 90 seconds to complete your deliberation and submit your verdict.
So this was just running in the halls, right?
Yeah.
What if it was like so much worse? Like a few years ago when one of my kids was at high school, someone spray painted all over the football field, the really expensive high school football field. Okay, somebody did it, but who's gonna clean that? Who's gonna pay the price for that? Who's gonna clean it up if we can't find somebody guilty? This kid's the only one that's close enough to being guilty. But do we make him pay the price for it if it really wasn't him?
It might be his brother, like twin brother.
And we can't just say, we're gonna make you pay the price for your twin brother.
Maybe it's a twin brother.
That's why we have trials. You are innocent until
Nobody said that.
proven guilty. The proof has to be there.
Why can't
Which is why it's 2024 and you see so many more cameras.
Why can't
It is harder and harder to find the proof.
Why can't the kid
Okay.
just talk? Yeah.
I think that's why he pays his lawyer to do that, because he pled not guilty. He says, I'm not guilty, I didn't do it, and now my lawyer's gonna talk for me. That's what I think, but it would have been a lot easier for them.
And then the lawyer's just gonna go on his side. What?
Yeah, because if you have to swear in and say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and the lawyer says, did you do it?
So that's what that girl should do it to the kid.
Members of the jury, if you would please
go.
take your seats. The bailiff has handed me the verdict, which I
Verdict is
now
the
have.
final answer.
Mr. Williams, Ms. Triplett, if you would please stand, I will read the verdict. In the matter of State v. Williams, and the over 13,000 jurors of your peers who participated in this trial,
13,000 classrooms.
the jury finds you not guilty.
He's not guilty.
This concludes our trial. Mr. Williams has been found not guilty,
85%.
and you got to see in real time our Constitution today.